You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
I watched The Bear, all of the first season, which blew me away. Yeah. And I told you there's like one episode that's one shot, right?
Yeah, you told me.
Because they're only like a half hour. That one was mind-boggling. But then the last one was probably just as good. They've been winning awards left and right, and that show already had a second season. So they're being nominated for the second season. And I mean, if the first season is that good, the second season looks phenomenal. And it's got a zillion guest stars, including Jamie Lee Curtis. So, but I started Beef. Have you seen it? That's the one with Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong.
Okay.
Where a road rage incident, it starts with a road rage incident.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Well, Stephen Yeun's been winning awards as well for it, and it's been nominated as well for stuff. It's just it's a new series though. It's only got one season, and it's Stephen Yeun, Ali Wong, and who is that lesbian that was in History of Violence? The blonde Maria Bello. That's it. She's good. Anyway, the pilot of it is great. That's all I've seen.
And it's another series?
It is. They're all half-hour episodes. I'm telling you, if you watched the first season of The Bear, you could do it in 4 hours. It is Maria Bello. That's her name. I like her. She's good. I just hadn't seen her in a while. Have you ever heard of a movie called The Devil's Own?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
In England, it was called The Witches, but here it's called The Devil's Own, which is the name of the novel. It's a witchcraft story, and it's got Joan Fontaine in it. It's produced by Hammer, and it was written by Nigel Neal.
Wow. Okay.
He adapted the book. And I was watching it on TCM, and they actually said that Baby Jane was a big hit, and that it followed suit for people like Joan Fontaine and Tallulah Bankhead to start doing horror movies. And that's why Joan Fontaine is in this one. She actually purchased the rights to the novel and took it to Hammer.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. But it's not as good as those Bette Davis ones. I said, what movie do you want us to do? He said, I don't know, Race with the Devil. He said, that's the only thing that comes to mind. And I thought, is that a TV movie? And I don't think it is, but it's got Warren Oates in it. Remember, he was in Stripes.
Oh, yeah.
And Peter Fonda, Loretta Swit, which I'm not looking forward to, but Laura Parker, which I am looking forward to.
We'll just do that one and Death Race 2000. One of each
genre. It'd be a good pairing. I thought of a good pairing last night. Oh, I was thinking of Rebecca and Dracula's Daughter, because both of them have a really strong lesbian in them.
True.
Mrs. Danvers and whoever that woman is that's in Dracula's Daughter.
Yeah.
And they're both black and white, and they're both on my list now because one's a Hitchcock.
Yep, true.
And it would be a crossover because it'd be like suspense and horror.
Yeah.
So I need to doctor that list up. They don't have an Apple store in Morristown? Do they still have that mall that Walmart's an anchor of?
Yeah, but Walmart's not there. They have a mall, and then Walmart is in a different complex now.
So what all's in that mall?
Hibbett Sports, lots of stuff, the movie theater. Not a Texas Roadhouse, but one of those sort of things.
Right.
Whatever the makeup place is. Ulta.
Mm-hmm.
Ulta. 2 different shoe stores.
Last time I was there, it seemed like it had grown a lot. I'm surprised y'all don't have more.
Well, they're not growing at the mall. There's like 3 different areas now that have been developed that are huge, I guess, developments but not like a mall. So we have an entire thing at the west end, and it has like 8 restaurants, including a Starbucks and a new Walmart and
A new Walmart.
oh yeah, we have 3. We have 3 Walmarts.
See, you're big enough to support 3 Walmarts, but you probably don't have an Apple store.
Well, what does that say, Tim? What does that say?
It says
we can support
better.
We can support 3 Walmarts, but shoot, none of that snotty old Apple crap. We don't need that around here.
Oh my God. And is Knoxville, I mean, last time I was there, like East, what was it? There's Westtown and East. There was Easttown closed or something.
Oh yeah, it's totally demolished now.
And it was a totally new mall.
Oh yeah, it was newer than Westtown.
Right.
But just, I guess because of the developer or whatever, blah blah blah, I don't know, but yeah.
Well,
it's
honestly,
now an Amazon distribution warehouse.
Oh, we have one of those around the corner from our house. It's enormous. It takes up like
huge.
5 city blocks.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, a lot of towns, you have to be there. There has to be something unique to support a mall now, because malls just aren't where it's at anymore. Our mall is pretty busy because we're far enough out that it's easier than going into Atlanta. But there's like one in between us and Atlanta that is that's where they film Stranger Things. It's just empty, completely empty.
That's the way Easttown was for like 8 years.
That's so weird because it was our go-to.
Oh yeah, Crystal Vision was there,
and it was newer, and
so strange. Fuddruckers was there, everything. But I think COVID or the rise of Amazon is probably the last death knell for malls. Nobody goes to the mall and just hangs out and walks around, does any of that stuff anymore.
Right, because the mall that my store was in that closed at COVID was already hurting, and now it's like dead.
And you go
on the other side.
You go to shop and be done, and that's it. And usually a particular store. And so why isn't that store somewhere else more convenient? So that's why, I think. You're seeing what I call like elevated strip malls. Like we've got the Walmart left the mall, it moved to a new thing, and it's right beside a Pier 1 Imports, a Hobby Lobby, and they're all like a strip mall-y kind of thing, but it's huge and big and plush and all that.
You had me with Walmart and Hobby Lobby because both of those.
Yeah, 2 of your favorites. There you go.
Actually, Walmart has gotten really good. They have turned their scores around on the equality index, but Hobby Lobby is horrible. They're like just, if you don't worship God, you can't work here.
Well,
I mean, that's basically.
Tim, you need to shop at Hobby Lobby and eat at Chick-fil-A. That's just what you have to do.
No, I don't eat that hateful chicken, or whatever it is Dennis calls it.
That is Jesus chicken, and it is important. You just reminded me, I was watching a Big Bang episode the other night, and Sheldon's mother is uber religious Texan. You've seen Big Bang, right?
I don't watch it. I know of it, but
it's so good. Anyway, it was the first season episode that she's introduced because Sheldon falls into a depression, so his roommate calls his mom, and she flies over from Texas, and she is taking care of the roommates and talking about Sheldon. It's a big way to get a bunch of backstory of Sheldon. But anyway, one of the core 4 guys is Indian, and his name is Rajesh and everything else. And she's cooking breakfast for everybody and saying all of these very Southern, very Texas, very conservative jokes and stuff. And at one point, she puts a plate in front of Raj and she goes, "Now, I made this with chicken. I hope that's not one of the animals that your people think is magic." And I cracked up. I couldn't. It was so perfect. I was going, see, that ignorance is just, it's great. It's so good.
Was he vegetarian or just Indian?
No,
Okay.
he's he's Indian.
There are
So
literally Indian restaurants that are vegetarian. So a large population is over there. That's why I was asking.
Well, it's like Penny is describing herself in the pilot, and she goes, okay, I'm a Sagittarius, which you probably could tell. And Sheldon goes off on this big thing about, yeah, all we can tell is that you believe in an archaic system of the level of the planets and their positioning has something to do with your birth. And
I would have said, where are your horse legs and your bow and arrow?
Right. And she goes, oh, and I'm a vegetarian, except for chicken and steak. I love steak. But other than that, I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, that's a greater tuna line.
Okay. Yeah, very.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. If you watch young Sheldon, it's like elevated Greater Tuna. It's all set in Texas. It's all the same tropes as we had in Greater Tuna. It is funny. It's a funny show.
Well, I watched the second episode of Beef.
Yeah.
With Stephen Young and Ali Wong. And that show is out there, man. It is crazy. And it's all about rage and not just road rage, just anger. Why people are angry and what they're doing with their anger. And Ali Wong has a gun. She pulls out a gun in the first episode, and you're like, holy fuck, she's gonna kill him. And you know what she does with it?
No.
She masturbates with it. A loaded gun. Well, I'm assuming it's loaded.
You get your giggles wherever you can, I guess.
Right.
Sort of thing.
And her husband is somewhat normal, but he's like starting to think that he married the wrong person, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. But that's a good show. It's not as good as The Bear, though.
Yeah, I probably need to start Bear just to get it done since everyone's discussing it and it's been renewed again. So I think it would be.
Yeah, I don't know much about Beef. I mean, I look at who's involved, but I don't recognize anybody really.
The other one that is on my extended list is Ted Lasso, because I've heard so much about it and people love it.
And you have Apple.
Okay. And I have Apple, but
right.
I'd rather watch For All Mankind. So
someone was talking about that the other day.
It's brilliant.
Oh no, I think it was an answer on Jeopardy.
It is brilliant. Very well done. Very well cast. Well shot. I mean, it's really good. I've got to finish it eventually so I can finally mention it again, since I just mentioned starting it.
Guess what I watched yesterday?
What?
The pilot of Night Gallery.
Wow, that's cool. Where did you find that? Was that on Shudder?
No, I have it on DVD.
Oh, okay.
And I have not seen it in a long time. And the reason I'm watching it is it actually could be considered a movie in 1965 to 1969 because it was the pilot and it aired in November of 1969 and the show started airing in like February of 1970. So I started to look at it. I was like, the first two stories are great. The one with Roddy McDowell about the cemetery is awesome. And then the one that Spielberg does with Joan Crawford is pretty awesome. The last one, I don't even remember right now. That's how good it is.
Ooh, okay. But yeah.
But it was a strong enough pilot, obviously, for him to do a series.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, it makes me want to go back and watch the episodes, but that's a lot of time. So I don't know.
Well, you could probably get a list of all the best ones. I mean, because I still remember Pickman's model. Pickman's model was great.
Okay. I don't have season 3. I only have season 1 and 2.
I remember the other one with the brooch. Always freaked me out. It was a Night Gallery story, so it's an EC Comics story, but it was a very bitchy girl, very nice guy. He finally snaps and she suffers because of it. It's the basic storyline, but it had to do with a brooch that she wore. It was really good.
Didn't they do an earwig story?
Yes.
I remember that one.
They did the definitive earwig story. It was great. The typical ending line, the twist
Robert
line.
Block
at the end.
ending line.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. Yeah.
And I'm trying to find Dracula, Prince of Darkness. That's the second movie that Christopher Lee was in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they did 9 Dracula movies, but he's only in 7. And Peter Cushing's not in all of them.
AD 2000 or whatever. No.
Right. That is one of them. It's AD 72. And that's like the lowest ranked. But Prince of Darkness was his second one, and Dracula Rises from the Grave was his third. And I watched Rises from the Grave, but I can't find Prince of Darkness anywhere, and I don't have it. I only have.
Did Christopher Lee ever do one of the Brides? Did he ever do any Brides?
There is a Brides of Dracula that was the second one. It came out in the first half of the 60s, but neither of them.
That's Hammer.
Yeah, it is Hammer.
Yeah.
But neither. Because
I remember I liked it mostly just because it's hot vampire girls. So
it's got pretty good ratings, but the guy playing Dracula's got blonde hair. Kind of dirty blonde hair.
Yeah, dirty blonde and curly, wavy hair. Yeah,
right. It's
I
still
remember
pretty
that
good.
one.
But Prince of Darkness is the one I want. I can't find it.
Still want to do that werewolf one with
Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed. Man, I still remember that.
He might as well have just credited his career to Hammer, because he's in a gazillion Hammer movies. I mean, every time I turn around, there's another one I'm looking for right now called The Shuttered Room.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay, and he's in it, but I think I may have found it chopped up on YouTube.
It's basically Flowers in the Attic from the other point of view. Basically.
Well, it's got Carol Lindley in it and someone else you wouldn't expect, but Oliver Reed's in it too.
Yeah, I was thinking back.
I think it's David Niven.
Those shock theater times or shock theater titles, and thought maybe I should put those together. What were your shock theater imprints? What were the 5 biggest things that imprinted you from shock theater?
Almost all of mine are Universal, because
mine are non-universal at all. I mean, I've got like I remember Monolith Monsters was from shock theater, and it was so imprinted on me. That werewolf one with
Curse.
Is Werewolf of Curse? Is
Curse
it?
of the Werewolf. Mm-hmm.
That werewolf one, Creature from the Black Lagoon, definitely. Monster on Campus, the one with the coelacanth, and the coelacanth blood turns him into it's like Altered States, but done in the 50s or early 60s.
Thanks.
So ones like that just imprinted. I still remember, Tarantula, of course, but weird ones that
all of mine were like black and white, and they were Universal, and it would be like like a Frankenstein movie or a Mummy movie, and then one of the sequels, like The Mummy's Ghost, and then the third movie would be Abbott and Costello meets the Mummy. And I mean, it would be like they were themed, and they were all in black and white and all old. I never saw Hammer
black and white
and stuff. I always saw Hammer movies like on a Saturday afternoon, just flipping through channels or something.
I would see Hammer, either Saturday afternoon, or sometimes it would be a late night thing. It would be an after 11 thing. Somebody was showing
I think I know why. Because I watched shock theater when I was like in first and second grade. So that would have been in like 71 and 72. And those Hammer movies weren't that old then. So they probably weren't running them.
Yeah, they were probably showing the Universals in the 30s and 40s. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Tennessee, I don't remember shock theater at all in Tennessee.
Well, and I don't remember shock theater showing a lot of science fiction.
Mm-mm.
It showed a lot of horror, but I don't remember, like Earth versus the Flying Saucers, any of those. It Came from Outer Space, all of those. I never saw those on shock theater. So I'm trying to remember, where did I originally see those then? Where did those come from? When was the first time I ever saw The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Did you see the Grammys?
No.
They were amazing. I was shocked at how good it was.
Because what? Check 1 2 1 1 1 9er.
It was a really good blend of old and new.
I have heard that.
And it was like Women's Night. I don't know that a man won an award, I swear.
Well,
there were a lot of female artists winning.
Yeah, that's been building for a while, though. That whole, I mean, it's been that way. Unless it's country music, when it's almost all male and a few females as tokens kind of thing. I don't, anytime you think of the Grammys or think of music in general lately, who's a guy who's singing? Not an old group.
All I listen to is rock. Everybody's a guy, basically.
Yeah, but not new rock. There is no new rock. Everything is.
Well, there's some. I mean, Foo Fighters.
It's Foo Fighters not new. They've been around for like
they
decades.
have new music, though. They do have new music.
Yeah, but
I mean, this morning I was listening to Ace Frehley's new album, and Ace Frehley is old.
Yes, he is. But
he has a new album.
I mean. But that's what I mean. I every time I even pseudo listen or come near a radio, they're mentioning artists that I have no idea who they are, and 98% of them are female.
And that's the same reason we have with television. We don't have that source anymore. No one listens to the radio. So unless you actively go to your music streaming service and look for new stuff, you're not going to hear it.
Correct.
And it's the same with watching things. I mean, people are like, have you seen this series? I'm like, what's it on? Because I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they're talking about some true crime series now called American Nightmare. My next door neighbor's watching it. The podcast I'm listening to is watching it. And that's how I found out a lot of stuff is when we used to have Sirius XM. I listened to the gay channel, and they were always talking about what was new and out there in music and then video or movies. And they canceled the gay channel. So now we just subscribe to one of the shows that was on it, and it's just that show. So all I hear about as far as new stuff, they're not music people. They're more movie people and not horror movies.
Now I'm curious because the only detective thing I've heard recently that's all over as far as hitting all of my socials and everything is the Jodie Foster one.
Yeah, like and that's supposed to be out there. They're saying it's weird.
Season of True Detective or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah. She looks very butch, and I think she's straight in that.
That's acting. No, just kidding.
She just looks haggard because she lives in Alaska, I guess.
Of course. There's no sun, or there's only sun.
I love Jodie Foster. I've been seeing her on talk shows, and she doesn't do that shit. She hasn't done that in a long time.
Done what? A movie?
Talk shows. I saw her on Kelly Clarkson, and I want to say she was on The View. Dennis watches The View on YouTube.
Okay.
He watches Hot Topics, so he can get all his politics from the women at the table.
From the women at the table, yeah. Well, just listen to Whoopi and you'll be fine.
And let me tell you what, she is some smart fucking shit, man. I love her. Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is great, man. And she was pissed. I guess it was yesterday, or the one we were watching was last night. She was raising hell about just politics in general, but mainly people saying Joe Biden shouldn't be the candidate. And she's like, fuck y'all. He is the candidate. You can't change that now.
Yeah, and please don't. Don't even try. Don't put somebody else up.
You need to move on. This is not a conversation until after November.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get him elected, and then we can talk about whatever you
right. And I mean, you could tell she was pissed, and then they moved on to another subject, and she was pissed about it too. I mean, it was funny. It was like the Whoopi rant show. I was loving it.
She's great. Well, and you watch some of those ranters, and there's nothing backing them up, but Whoopi has it. And like Jon Stewart, when Jon Stewart starts ranting and going off, I'm like, yes, go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the Grammys were great. Some country star has apparently remade Fast Car by Tracy Chapman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And apparently it's like I Will Always Love You with Whitney Houston. It's like that popular. Wow. So Tracy Chapman is like rolling in dough now, just like Dolly was when Whitney did that song.
Right.
And they duetted together. And I mean, there were several times when Dennis and I got teary-eyed watching the Grammys.
Really?
That was one of them. Another one was Joni Mitchell's performance because she's had polio and everything. She's old, and she just won her first, I think it was her first Grammy, and it was her first Grammy appearance. Billy Joel finally wrote a new song. He performed.
Yep, I heard that.
And he closed the show as well. Taylor Swift won at least 2. She was probably nominated for $1 million. And
I think she was nominated for 9 and she won 4.
Yeah, and Miley Cyrus won 2. And Dennis
best pop song or something?
It was that song Flowers.
I don't know.
It won like song and record of the year or something.
Okay.
Taylor Swift won album.
And announced a new album. Yeah, there was a cartoon that showed up on my feed that showed 2 like obviously older people, and they're sitting on a couch, and I think the title was "Watching the Grammys for the Past 5 Years." And the wife is both of them are going, who is that? Who is that? I don't know him. Going down the thing, and then finally it says Joni, and they both go, ah.
She sounded pretty good for someone that's 80 years old. And Stevie Wonder did a tribute to Tony Bennett. The best thing, and you would love this, the absolute best thing they did was the In Memoriam, because they lengthened it to about 20 minutes, and they only did upbeat music. And in the middle, they'd show a few pictures and have someone singing. Then all of a sudden, someone would come out and sing one of the songs that the artist did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Annie Lennox did Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor.
For Sinead, that's awesome.
Fantasia came out and did Proud Mary.
Oh, wow.
Tina, yeah, I mean, they had like all the dancers like Tina Turner and stuff. John Baptiste was out there performing some of the like black rhythm and blues people that died. I can't remember it wasn't Sam Cooke. But
wow,
anyway.
I'll have to look that up then.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was absolutely stunning. And if you go to Paramount, there's no commercials. You can just start it. and I fast forwarded through the things I didn't want to see, like some of those young artists that won that I didn't care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was amazed. And Miley Cyrus was great. She is Dennis's spirit animal. I've said this for years. Yes. And he was so into it. And she came out there in like vintage Bob Mackie, and she did that song for the first time on TV. Mm-hmm. And at the end, it just started rocking out, man. And she just took that microphone stand, threw it down, and walked off stage like a rock star. It was hilarious. I couldn't quit laughing. I was laughing so hard.
Interesting. Okay.
And it was really cool to see Taylor. She was at a table with Meryl Streep, and I think she was at the same table. They were either that or next to each other. Meryl Streep was there because her son-in-law is Mark Ronson, the producer.
Okay.
So they gave Best Album of the Year award at the end. But anyway, what was cool was seeing Taylor and everybody else. John Legend and Dua Lipa was there. I love her. She's new, and I love her. She's newer. But anyway, being so supportive of everyone.
Yeah.
Like everybody was up singing that song with Miley Cyrus, including Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was up standing, singing every song with whoever was on stage. It was like a big party. And it was in like a stadium. The place was huge. It looked like someplace you would go see Elton John or something. It was gigantic.
Yeah, that's the same place they've had it for like 3 years.
Okay. I don't remember it ever being in a venue that large, but it was like a giant concert.
Yeah, because remember the one like 2 years ago, they actually did a thing with Weeknd, and he actually walked all the way through all these tunnels and everything else, and they were following him the whole time, and they built this entire freaking LED lit stage thing on one end of it for him to do his performance on.
Yeah.
So, it was a huge venue.
Out where all the tables and the artists were sitting, they had a secondary stage. So, like when Stevie Wonder played, he was out there. Or when Fantasia actually walked from the main stage to the center stage. Yeah. I mean, the separate stage or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. I'm telling you, it was one of those things that you would like to watch, like you like to watch the Oscars, just to see how the show is set up.
Production.
Technically. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's enough. I'll quit my rant. But yeah, I highly recommend it because everybody on like things I was seeing on television and on my podcast were talking about it. I was like, why are everybody talking about the Grammys? That doesn't happen anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Get back to some music. And stuff.
Yeah, they need to bring these newer people out with the older people. They need that merge because that attracts both audiences.
Well, yeah, and also shows the generational similarities. These disparate groups also love music and are talented and skilled and everything else.
Yeah,
and
Taylor Swift's speech was amazing at the end. I mean, she just basically said, all I want to do is this. She said, this is not important. And then she corrected herself and said, actually, it is very important.
Right.
But she said, all I want to do is make music. And she said, this is great, but nothing is better for me than when I crack the code on a song. Talking about, when it clicks and she knows it's right. Yep. And I was like, wow, she's talking about the process. That's really cool. So,
which is great.
And I want to like her. I really, really want to like her, but I have just never got into her.
I like her, but I couldn't tell you other than
that's what I mean. Her music.
Shake a shake. What's that damn? Shake it up. Shake it up. It's off. Yeah, that's the only song I know by her, really. I mean, I'm sure I would recognize them if I heard them, but I wouldn't be able to give you one lyric.
No. Yeah.
But then again, I couldn't do that with Foo Fighters either. And you love Foo Fighters.
Oh, my God. I could sing every Foo Fighters song.
But I couldn't tell you one right now if you gave me a thing. I mean, but that's just the way I am about music. I can hum it, sing it, listen to the instrumentation of it, but I never listen to the lyrics, or rarely. And I don't know modern at all.
Yeah, I don't listen to modern hardly at all, but I listen to music every day, almost all day.
Yeah. Well, and I've never been a lyrics person, which is, again, a reason why I don't like rap, because rap is based almost exclusively on lyrics and some kind of backbeat, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And a lot of it sounds the same to me. Yeah. Because of what you're saying, that backbeat. Yeah. And their words are fast and run together. And I'm not a big fan. I mean, if someone occasionally, like if a pop artist has a rapper in their song, I can handle it. Like I saw Justin Timberlake on SNL last week, and he did that, and that was good. Yeah. And others do that, but I just can't do it. Even the Aerosmith one that brought them back in the 90s. I mean,
with Run DMC? Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
Yeah, but Run DMC were musicians that rapped. I don't think a lot of rap artists are musicians. I think they're good lyricists, maybe, if you like that. But,
yeah, I see what you mean. I see
exactly what you mean. But they're not musicians. The music behind Run DMC is what works as well as the lyrics.
Two old white guys explain rap music.
We explain rap music to you. Stop all the talking.
As far as a new artist, one that I'm curious about now is Olivia Rodrigo. She did that song Vampire. Have you heard that?
No.
You got to watch this. She is singing the song, and I'm like, is she singing about vampires? And Dennis said, I don't know. And I said, there's blood on her. And all of a sudden, she had like blood on her hands and on her breast and on her smeared on her face. And she came out, and it wasn't there. So I'm not really sure when she did it. And then all of a sudden, the wall behind her, blood just started oozing down the wall.
I saw that on TikTok. One of my ones I follow to learn the enemy, had this big thing about Grammys turn satanic. And I thought it was from years ago. But he was talking about, led by Joe Biden, she has done this, and the innocent virgin who becomes bloody. I mean, it was all this.
She will eat your children in the downstairs basement of a pizza parlor with Hillary Clinton.
Yes, of course. Yes. As they get ready to board the plane to go to what's his name's island. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It was hilarious. I was watching it just going, okay, these guys have too much free time. If you took all the time to edit this BS together.
But I tell you, it wasn't the special effects that made me like the song, though. It got my attention, but then the song was nominated several times. So I kept hearing it in the nomination clips, and I was like, I like that song. So I'm going to check it out.
And what is it? What's her name?
It's called Vampire.
Okay.
But I don't think it's really like Concrete Blonde vampires. I think she's referring to a boyfriend sucking the life out of her or something.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Demons everywhere.
It's metaphorical. But Concrete Blonde and others have done songs that aren't metaphorical. They're about like Anne Rice vampires or whatever.
Yeah, right. The way they should be.
Yeah, I watched this movie last night. I was thinking about doing it for a genre thing, but it's more of a thriller than a horror movie. and it's called The Nanny, and it sucked me in and did like a role reversal thing that I predicted, but wow. Yeah, it's pretty good. It gets like 85 on Rotten Tomatoes for a 1968 Betty Davis Hammer movie.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, so I knew it was at least held in high regard to some folks. What am I looking for? What is it? It says it's auto. How do I do manual? Okay, here we go.
There you go. You look good. Oh, whoa! Now you're all white.
Now I'm Boris Karloff in Die Monster Die.
Yeah, very true. So true.
So, yeah, I was telling you about that movie. Pamela Franklin's in it, and she's a teenager living upstairs in this. It's actually it's a nice apartment. It's like a penthouse for rich people. And she lives upstairs, and her dad's a doctor, so her house, I guess, is nice too, because the little boy in it always goes up the fire escape to talk to her. And she'll be in there smoking. I'm like, girl, I saw you dancing around with Deborah Kerr 4 years ago in a little dress, and now you're smoking.
Yep.
It was very funny. And her dad, at one point, comes in and sticks his head in the door and says something, and he said, "And stop smoking."
Perfect.
It was pretty funny.
Started reading to The Road because you recommended it. So.
Oh yeah, that's hard
really
to put
good.
down.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
he just
and you
got
see
to
how
the
he
house.
writes.
He just so well, man.
I mean, well, it's so minimal. It's just
but,
like one sentence per person or one word
per dialogue.
Yeah.
Or it's repetitive. Are we safe, Papa? We're safe. You sure we're safe? We're safe. But his prose is so good. And then came The Black of Night. Just phrasings that he has. It is so good.
You should do Slaughterhouse-5 next. I may be able to send you. At one point, I could send you one, but I think they limited me to just one. But it's been so long, maybe they'll let me do it again. I don't know.
Well, I found The Road on Audible free.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a library card that's connected to an app like Libby, you can find stuff like that on Libby for free. Yep. Easy.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, any Cormac McCarthy will blow you away. I mean, No Country for Old Men's great. Blood Meridian is dark. And Child of God is even darker. Child of God is like his version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, no, that's actually not true. It's more like, I mean, it's about like some inbred guy that's just lived out in the woods his whole life, and he's like a cannibal. I don't remember like slasher type stuff. I just remember disturbing shit because you realize that this guy's human, but he's not really. He's an animal.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And it's called Child of God. Joe recommended it to me, and I read it, and I was like, holy shit. Listen, I've been trying to listen to Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. And when I listened to Miley this morning, I was like, damn, she sounds like Dolly because she's got a high vibrato.
Yes.
But then when she sings a song like Flowers, she sounds like Stevie Nicks. It's like a real low vibrato. It's weird. She can go back and forth. Taylor Swift just writes great lyrics. And I just, after watching the Grammys, I was like, all right, I'm going to try. So I just hit a shuffle on.
Okay. All right. So
I told you I'm always listening to music. Music.
Music. 3, 2,
1.
You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.